Let's head to New York City and talk with Charlie. Charlie, you're with Allworth Money Matters.
How are you?
Fantastic. How you doing, Charlie?
Good, thanks. My question is this. When I was some 25 years ago, I took out I needed insurance, so I took out a term insurance that had a convertible portion of it, and I converted $350,000 to whole life.
Okay.
So it was a $2 million policy, $350 whole life, 1.65 is term. I still have the term. It's I think that's all I need.
Is the term, is it a level? And so how old are you today, Charlie?
I'm 53.
And this is on yourself or your spouse?
It's on me.
Okay.
And is that the term, does it go up in price every year?
No. Is the term, the old, I took out a new term policy maybe 10 years ago.
Okay, that's what we were looking for. So you converted part of this, but then you rewrote the term policy 10 years ago. How's your health today?
What?
How is your health today?
Fine.
Okay, so what's your question for us?
What to do with this, with the whole life policy? I mean, I stopped fund. I've been about 10 years ago. I stopped paying the premiums on it. I'm using the dividends and surrendering additions to maintain it. So I have about probably 70 or so thousand that I've contributed over the years. I think it has a cash value of about 115.
Okay.
And so my question is, should I just keep doing that?
How old are you?
No, I wouldn't.
I'm 53.
You're 53. And do you have a need for insurance?
What?
Do you have a need for insurance? Could you retire today comfortably?
With no, and then there's if you have a pension. Is there, if you died today, who's
relying upon you for income?
My wife.
Okay.
My wife, and right now I have 2 kids who aren't working yet.
Okay. All right. You have a need for insurance.
Yeah. The thing about whole life there's a place for whole life. My opinion, it's typically for very large estates, and you can use it as a way to pay estate taxes. It can be pretty interesting in that situation. But
then you're starting to use irrevocable trust.
Extremely, yes. And it's used for that specific purpose. Other than that, most people don't need life insurance their whole life. They need insurance when they've got kids. They need insurance while they're working. They go in, maybe the only thing they need is enough money to have a funeral and heads and bury you in the ground. So most people don't need whole life insurance for their whole life, and which is one of the reasons you don't see it sold as much. And it used to all be sold. The reason people owned it is because it was sold to them, and that was how all life insurance was sold.
So when you think about this, you have a cash value of $115,000, and you actually have insurance of $350,000. So the difference between those two numbers is $235,000.
That's what you're paying. You're buying insurance for that still.
You're still paying on that because
the way the contract is.
You could cash out that 115, right? And that's how we come up with the number. And that's what basically the term I use is called pure insurance. So you're buying $235,000 worth of pure insurance.
What was it? Have you been paying attention to what's happened to that cash value on a year by year basis?
It's it hasn't gone up very much because I stopped funding the policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got to. So what happens is you get older. If that cash value stays the same as you get older, the risk of you dying actually increases. Therefore, the cost of that pure insurance goes up. So what we know what will happen based upon the facts you just gave us is that we'll start to see this cash balance actually drop. So you've got 3 options. One is
ignore it and keep it like it is.
I guess we have 4 options. That wasn't one of my options.
You could.
My option, and the other option is just cash it in
In which case you pay you'll pay some tax.
Yeah, because you said you put in 70,000 and the cash value is 115, so there's going to be a taxable event. The third option is you can roll it over into an annuity without any tax consequences, and you could buy a variable annuity if you wanted with that, make it much more aggressive investments.
The downside with that is that it'll be taxable at your death if you never spend the dollars.
And the fourth option is you can just lower the face value of this. And even to the point where you turn it into what's called a modified endowment contract or a MEC, modified endowment contract, you could lower the face value of this to say $200,000.
What would you do, Pat?
I would either roll it into an annuity or I'd actually downsize it to a MEC. I wouldn't cash it in. And part of it, I guess, would be based on what the
I don't know.
What's your overall net worth?
Including the house, the mortgage, I think, and the retirement account.
Yeah,
that's somewhere in about three and a third.
I might cash it in.
I wouldn't leave 100. The investments are based upon timelines, right? So I like fixed, safe assets for money that I need to spend or I may need to spend in the next couple of years, right? So I like money in the bank. I like nice secure thing. But for money that I'm not going to spend for years, I want them invested in long-term assets that are going to appreciate in time.
Well, that's by moving it into a variable annuity.
What I'm just saying, the challenge with this life insurance
is it's a fixed
asset.
Yeah, it's really low interest rate.
When you're talking, your odds are you're not going to die for who knows.
So look, I have a policy on myself that I bought years ago, a variable universal life, which is similar to what you own. But it invests all in stocks and mutual funds, what they call sub-accounts, but essentially mutual funds inside of it. And I have quit funding that thing 5-6 years ago, but it's aggressively invested and it continues to grow.
I have a similar kind of policy.
Right?
Yeah, I think mine is tied to the insurance general account.
That's right. It's a fixed account because it's whole life. I'd either cash it out. I'm thinking $3 million, $115,000, pay the tax, move on, make life easy.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'd cash it out.
That's what I would do.
I'd cash it out. And
I might want to get a physical first.
Yeah, if you're uninsurable, you could apply for another policy.
I wouldn't do it until I have my annual physical.
Okay, so cash it out, pay the tax.
That's what
and then,
yeah.
And then put
Or what? Put the money where?
And put the money in a high yield savings account in case I need it for to make a wedding or something.
It's up. Yeah, that's up to you how you want to invest it. It shouldn't. The source of the money shouldn't drive the investment.
Right.
Just because it came from a fixed account doesn't mean it needs to go into a fixed account. The source of the money, as long as it fits in with your overall goals, that's where it should be directed.
Okay.
Yeah. It's yeah. And look, these policies, I tell you, they're complicated, right?
Super complicated.
Yeah, you can pretend they're not complicated. Most people, the way they're sold is they're not complicated. They're complicated.
Yeah, because one option, Pat, is to move this to either a variable whole life policy or a variable universal life policy.
Re-underwrite it?
And if you bring the face value way down, it loses some of the tax benefits, and it becomes a modified endowment contract, but the death benefit still remains tax free. But then you're basically saying, I'm going to take this $115,000 and I'm planning on never spending it in my entire life and dying with it.
Well, I did it with a client recently, but their net worth was over $10 million and they were never going to spend it. And so it was that was the right thing to do. And a lot of the rules changed in 80.
If you'd like to spend the money, then I'd cash it out.
Yeah, I'd cash it out. Yeah. And that was a lot of the rules changed in the 1986 TEFRA.
Thank you, Pat, for your bringing up the tax law from 50 years ago.
Holy smokes, it's been a long time, huh?
It has been. Appreciate the call there, Charlie. It's life insurance. Well, first of all, there's not enough life insurance in force today. There are too many young families that don't have life insurance.
It's not sexy.
And say what you want about the insurance industry. At least when these good salespeople are out selling policies, people had life insurance in force. Probably better than nothing, right? And a lot of people have nothing today. And term insurance is so inexpensive if you are young and in good health. It's almost, I mean, it's negligible.
not sexy though. It is not. It's not sexy. Like, but you go up to a beautiful house that's just gorgeous. No one ever asks how the foundation was built, right? And that's what insurance is, the foundation of every financial plan. Every financial plan, whether you want to talk about it or not, insurance is.
Yeah,
right?
and
Homeowners insurance,
and
liability
and
insurance.
all of it is getting expensive.
Yeah, homeowners insurance.
All of that is going
liability
up in price,
insurance, disability, life insurance. It's not sexy though. I'd much rather no one ever.
All right, I don't want to talk about insurance anymore.
I want to.
We're done with insurance.
Okay.